Hey everybody, thanks for joining. Will here. I've decided to start interviewing MSPs, interviewing other people in the industry, and start sharing that with you guys here in my network. I have a friend, Stephen Smith, old acquaintance. We used to work together at another company, and I wanted to interview him. He just launched an MSP right from ground zero over the last few months, and I think it would be cool to ask him some questions, get to know him a little bit. This is something I'm going to start doing, and I'd hope you guys would join in if you guys have questions for Steven, or if you have questions, or if you like to see me talk with anybody from a specific company or specific industry. I'd love to. I want to continue to grow my network, grow yours, share knowledge. It's what it's about. So please sit back, enjoy this interview, and let me know your thoughts. Thanks. Hey, Steven, thanks for joining me. I appreciate you hopping on. It's been a while since we actually really connected, I think face to face for a while to have a conversation. We used to know each other. For those who don't know, we used to work together at Automox for really like for a cup of coffee. That's what I'll call that time. Um, but Steven, thanks for joining. Please introduce yourself.
Yeah, and I'm glad to be part of it. Stephen Smith, located here in the great state of Maine, where there's more trees than people. Um, and yeah, I run an MSP called Old Dog Technology, and essentially just started about 90 days ago.
Wow, yeah, brand new and on the ground floor, which is, the reason for this call. I wanted to kind of hear how that's going and maybe be able to share that experience with others. I'm sure others have questions about what that could be like for those who might be looking to maybe jump out and start an MSP themselves. And so, can you start off with kind of telling us like how you got into IT in the first place, and then like what led you up to like deciding to jump out into launching Old Dog?
Sure, yeah. If you, I'll keep it short because we don't have a couple of days to go through all of that. I've been in for about 23 years or so far. Um, just started in high school. One of those things. It was sort of a way to get out of study hall, and to be able to play with the computers in the computer lab, and kind of just went from there. I don't have quite the pedigree as some others. I didn't start on something that took 5 1/4 floppies. I started with XP. Luckily, I didn't have to experience the earlier version, some of them. But and then from there, kind of life took me in some different ways. Didn't graduate high school on time, didn't go to college, and sort of just begged a computer shop owner to let me fix computers with him in our, just a town over from me now. And finally, after 9, 10 months of bugging him, he finally let me, and then kind of just went from there to help desk to sysadmin to a little bit of web development, a little bit of everything, to be honest. And I know a lot of people, a lot of MSPs, a lot of technical people will be like, the saying, anything that plugs in. So pretty much in all those positions, anything that plugged in was up for grabs for repairs, fixing, troubleshooting. So and then got into cybersecurity specifically about 6 or 7 years ago, and kind of just took that from there. And then most recently, I was laid off from a job last December, actually. Struggled with the job market just like a lot of other people did. I think I applied for 350 positions over that months of time,
Yeah.
and then finally kind of woke up one day, looked at my wife and said, why don't I just start doing this on my own and help people that actually need to be helped? And in that same vein, it's sort of that 1 to 5 employees is really where a lot of MSPs start. But then as they get bigger, those customers kind of fall off because they have larger customers that pay them more money. Um, and that's where I really want to stay, is that 1 to 5, and try to grind it out. I know a lot of feedback that I've seen over time of other MSPs is you don't want to do break fix, you don't want to do that type of thing. But so far, that's gotten me to where I am now with business customers, with those introductions, doing just the break fix, which I'm sure there'll come a time where I have to make that decision, but right now I'm able to juggle both, and got a few business customers on with managed service. So,
Yeah,
but
it's awesome.
yeah,
Awesome. Thanks. That's a great story. And I think some of us, a lot of us in the tech industry, I think have I feel like has the same kind of journey sometimes when it comes to schooling. It's like I don't know if I'm the only one, but it was hard to sit still and want to follow at everybody else's pace. I was always playing with a widget, playing with a gadget, so interested in other things, especially at growing up in the early 2000s, where it was really just technology was taking off. It just felt like there was a group of us that were doing it, but everybody else was still, sitting at the
yeah.
textbooks. And so that's awesome. Thanks for sharing. Can you tell us, like, does Old Dog have like a mission statement, like any type of a vision for it? I mean, I love that you're staying with that 1 to 5 employee range, and I think that's awesome that you found purpose and like a target market in that. Is there a mission statement behind it?
Yeah, yeah. I would say, to be honest, I don't really have a mission statement. It's kind of that combination of do the right thing when no one's looking,
Mhm.
um, and do that for everyone, and do anything that we can to help the community while still being able to keep the doors open. So if we get a nonprofit that comes to us, that's two people, and they're like, "Hey, we really need some help with this." Well, we can figure something out, whether that's monetary, whether that's just them talking about us, and kind of doing it the way that I would want to do it versus questioning why a company does a certain thing a certain way.
Mhm.
So having that flexibility definitely is right up my alley for sure.
That's awesome. Okay. So starting off, it's got to be hard. You were laid off, for a few months, and you decided to take this venture and this journey into launching this MSP. Like, is there something that's been your biggest challenge as of late, like that you're finding as an obstacle?
I think the biggest challenge is just stuff that you don't know that you don't know. And this is with anyone, I think, but for me, I have the advantage to some small business owners because I'm technical and I know about a lot of different solutions, so I can implement those pretty easily. But the other side of that is the bookkeeping, the website optimization, some of those things that I'm not necessarily in a place to pay someone else to do that. So unfortunately, I've had to, learn some of those things, and, use some of the people that are in the same position as me, bookkeepers that are on their own doing their own thing, utilizing resources from, the Small Business Administration, from local places around me. SCORE is a national network. They do free mentoring for just about anything you can think of. So there's a ton of resources. It's
Mhm.
just juggling the time to spend to do that
Mhm.
versus actually making money and being able to stay open. So
Right.
definitely that, just the balance. And I think that's with everything, balance in life, balance in business. So definitely learning as I go. But yeah,
Right.
I'd
So
say the
that's cool.
soft skills, as they call it. I can talk with people, but the other soft skills is what I'm really having to learn now. So.
Okay, that's good. That's good. So you've learned so that there's some resources out there. So that's cool. Like, are there any hacks or any like cool shortcuts? Not even shortcuts, but like, has there been something that's helped you get to where you are now? I know we were talking a little bit about your growth. Is there something you could say that you were
Sure.
surprised about that really helped launch you?
Um, I would say not necessarily launch me, but I would say definitely network, just like we're doing now, having these conversations,
Mhm.
just over the last 20 years, talking to anyone, asking questions, listening more than talking, which I definitely, kind of struggle from because I'm so excited with the conversation that I want to not one up the other person, but kind of also share my experience. So it's sort
Mhm.
of the balance of listening more than talking, and you actually get more out of that. But yeah, I would say definitely the networking, and that's just for past jobs, opportunities, anything like that. Definitely networking is the key.
Yeah. I think I've gotten most of a lot of my connections came through my network. A lot of the places like things I've been able to achieve, jobs that I've gained, experience that I've gained, just like my network, our networks is just so important, which is why I'm happy to do things like this today. It's like just want to continue to learn and grow with others, man. That's awesome. I'm with a software company, obviously. I'm with Guards, and I think we did a product demo, right? You got to
Yeah.
see. Are you, as an MSP, because I just have to ask a couple of these questions, are you like constantly getting berated with like vendor emails? Like, what is that like?
Yeah, not quite as many as I kind of had thought at first. And for the
Mhm,
most part, when I just politely say no, thank you,
mhm,
most of them just, kind of leave me alone, or maybe 6 months from now I'll hear from them again, which, I understand they have a job, so I'm not
mhm,
mean to them generally. I just say no, thank you, and if they continue, then well, then their domain just gets blocked.
mhm.
So I don't I don't have any extra time to kind of
Right.
mess around. And
Mhm,
yeah, but no, I would say
mhm.
overall not too bad in
Okay.
that way.
Because you have a background in cybersecurity, but you also have a background in break fix. You're building this company. You're starting off with the break fix, focusing on the smaller guys. Is there something you think that like you'll need to be able to like educate them? Like, how do you get them, that 1 to 5 company, to understand that cybersecurity is important? Like, how does is that something you like is that going to be a challenge? Is that something you feel like you can do? Like, what does that look like? And what would help you to be able to communicate that to a client?
Sure. So yeah, I think the the dynamic there, especially for the 1 to 5, there are, and I'm sure this translates to, any company, even enterprise, that if they don't value any of that, anything to do with cybersecurity, if they're still wondering why they shouldn't be using a personal Gmail address as their primary means of communication, without, sort of taking into consideration some of those things, it unfortunately it makes it really easy for me, because generally I just don't do business with those companies, because if I can't convince them, even just on a basic level, to back up their data, or some other facet like that, um, it's going to be like pulling teeth to get anything more advanced done, and really make those changes. So I don't necessarily give up on them. I do sort of the feeder type campaign, where send out a few emails with some tips and tricks and things like that. And but having that conversation ultimately is, I think it's that first conversation I have with them, to see if they're even open to the possibility of doing anything that we provide. And
Mhm.
that's really the sort of sets the tone for me, at least, with those really small businesses. But I also sort of sell it to them as if it's the same tools that an enterprise would use, but we're bringing it all together, you doing some of those things.
Mhm.
And there's a few businesses already, like I said, that I've signed up, that are more than happy to do it, because they've suffered for so long. They just didn't it didn't even cross their mind to bring their computer to a local shop to have it fixed. They just dealt with it. Not
Mhm.
because of the money, it's just time, and not really knowing, and not wanting to get taken advantage of. And so they're hesitant in that way.
Mhm.
And now that I've got a few local references, I'm on a couple of different community forums and boards and things. It definitely helps with the
Mhm.
confidence and what I'm offering, and it's not just the next big thing, and I just want to make money.
Yeah.
So
Isn't and this is as we're talking, this is coming to me like I'm thinking, is it not hard to get software services then, like or go to a software vendor when you want to, let's say if there is a customer need, and they do need, you see that they are in need of an enterprise grade software, but
mhm,
yet they don't have the budget for an enterprise grade
yeah,
software.
right,
And then the enterprise grade software wants to charge you because if you're below like their minimum user count,
right.
now you're at a place where you're paying 5x what you would pay if you had the larger, mid-market clients. Do you foresee that being a struggle? Are there like, guards, we try to, create a solution that can help combat that in a way with our different
Mhm,
options with starter packs and lower minimums and lower commitment periods and things like that. Like, what would like is that? What do you think? What are your thoughts on that? Like, do you think that's going to be a struggle in the future, or what could help?
Yeah, I think that's definitely been a struggle for small businesses, even under 50 people, under 100 people. Those are still issues that they all experience with internal IT or outsourced MSP or MSSP, um, because of those minimums, because of how much it's going to cost them to, if they want to cover, say, half the landscape, generally that's 5 to 6 tools, maybe more. If they
Mhm.
want to cover the whole thing plus outsource to an MSP, that's a huge amount of money for them, and a huge amount of time that they don't have. They don't have the staff internally to do that. They don't have the knowledge generally to do that as well. So yeah, definitely, it's definitely an issue, and companies are becoming more flexible, but I think like guards and like even like a Huntress or other companies like that, DNS Filter, they're all making it easier to kind of put that together a little easier than having to buy individual tools and then manage them. Even if they were to give you 5 licenses, it, like you said, it's going to cost 5 to 10 times more than you'd pay if you had 100 licenses.
Yeah.
So definitely definitely easier that way, and that's where I sort of started going toward, was the reason I looked at guards, the reason why I looked at some others, um and unfortunately for me and unfortunately for you all, um, most of my customers are still using personal Gmail accounts and things like that. So that's the most basic barrier to entry, is a lot of that, securing their logins, two-factor authentication, things like that. We can't do that right now with a personal Gmail account with some of the platforms. So that's my job now, is to get them off of their Gmail accounts into Workspace or into O365, and then be able to utilize guards or other platforms that are, that all in one, that I can better serve them.
Right. Making sense. That makes sense. Do you think the government should step in for smaller businesses? Do you think there should be grant money? Do you feel like there should be maybe tax breaks for businesses that, have security services that when they're that smaller that are protecting themselves and protecting their customers? Like, do you agree with that thought?
Um, no, I don't think so. I don't think that I agree with the, sort of grants and things like that.
Mhm.
It's possible, but at the same time, even with all-in-one platforms like, like Guards and like some of the others that are out there, it makes it more possible to do more with less money and less resources.
Mhm.
And I understand that you're still outsourcing, you're still giving away, your security that way, but um for the amount that it costs and the amount of money that they're making as a business, just
Mhm.
like health insurance, just like any of those things that they may or may not offer to their employees, far too many owners are sort of making that choice versus it being a hardship. Some of them for sure, but a lot of them are just making that choice not to protect the business, not to offer their employees health insurance, to make more money, and I
Wow.
don't think that
Yep.
they should be incentivized,
Incentivized to continue
yes,
to make sense. I
to
like
not spend their own money.
Right.
I'd
That's
rather them get, help giving their employees health insurance than for cybersecurity. And I understand that's the business I'm in, but that's a little bit more important, I think, over time. And the cost of cyber solutions, even just the most basic, um, you know, antivirus, things like that, they're very easy to acquire, very easy to get implemented. So
awesome. Thanks. I love that. I love that you're, thinking customer first, you're thinking employee first. And that's a change and that's a breath of fresh air in this industry. Is there anything I want to, as we wrap this up, is there anything that, you feel like you can use as assistance? Like what could help you? Like we're talking to my network, talking to your network out there, anybody that's watching this, is there anything that could help old dog technology in this today?
yeah, I don't know. There's always that, like when you ask someone why something doesn't work, or why a certain software won't fit for them, they can't really tell you. because they don't know exactly what they want. They don't know exactly what they're missing. But there are so many resources out there that, to be honest, it's more who should I follow and how much of it should I consume before it gets to the point of I'm spending too much time watching webinars and reading, reading PDFs to actually doing business. So again, it's that balance of how much do I study, how much do I look at new products, things like that. It's just all balancing, and obviously going to local events, going to local meetups is a lot easier, at least for me. Even though I seem like I'm outgoing, I definitely would rather just sit at home, especially after COVID. That really didn't help, everyone's enthusiasm to go out and do stuff. But yeah, it definitely, it's a good thing to do to network, meet other people, talk about the problems you're having, even if it's other MSPs. There's plenty of customers to go around, plenty of other niches that are out there that some MSPs focus on. Don't be so locked down. Just talk about the problems, just like you would on Reddit. Just do it in person, you know?
Gotta love the forums. That's awesome. Well, hey man, well, thanks for sharing. Thanks for coming today. I appreciate you. If anybody out there wants to connect with Old Dog Technology, how can they do that?
Old Dog Technology on LinkedIn, on Instagram, Facebook, Nextdoor, TikTok, all the things, all the things. You might either get Old Dog Technology, or you might get a blog about technology that's used on dogs to heal them better. But either way,
That's a good one.
you'll
That's
find me for sure.
awesome. Well, thanks for joining me today, Stephen. Have a good one.
Thank you. You too. Bye bye.